going, guys? It's Cynical and welcome back to another Kingdom Hearts 3 news and information video. Today's one is a little bit different because I'm literally here, I'm physically here with the lads. We got Sky, we got HMK, and we got the one, the only, the analysis master, Dean over here. Welcome back, guys. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the wetness that came out of E3 because it's not dry season, it's wet season, boys.
I get it.
You get it, right? Okay, good. That kind of came together. Today we're going to be talking about a few different topics to do with the crazy amounts of news that came out. Nomura's been hard at work with interviews, so it's not just the trailer stuff, but it's also the interviews, which I think is one of the most exciting aspects of when we do get these trailer drops. Nomura gets some time with the media to kind of sit down, and the media asks him questions about specific things that have appeared throughout the trailers. So first things first, let's talk about Ratatouille, because I know this is super exciting. It's a new Pixar property that is going to be in Kingdom Hearts. We saw him at first, he was debuted at the orchestra trailer, and then he was thrown into the Square Enix Showcase trailer in amongst the Frozen reiteration. So we know that Ratatouille is going to be a mini game, and at first it was a little bit confusing. People were like, okay, is he gonna come through as a world, or is he just gonna have like a little cameo appearance? It's being confirmed that he is a mini game, and I would say this mini game is going to be taking place in the Tram Common area in Twilight Town within that new restaurant. This mini game is pretty cool because it kind of takes notes from Final Fantasy XV's food system. So essentially what you can do is you can go around the world, you can find ingredients, and you bring them back to Remy, and you literally cook the food, and the food, if you are successful, because you can actually stuff it up, the food gives you status boosts. So I assume it'll be things like +3 strength for like 5 minutes, or however long, X amount of time sort of thing, or maybe treasure magnet, stuff like that.
Yeah, temporary status.
Yeah, temporary status boosts.
Like, MP haste.
MP haste. So we could bring in support abilities through food. I'm sure that if the ability system is going to return, those things will come back. But it's going to be a form of, you know, giving extra, you know, little enhancements and whatnot. What's your guys' thoughts on it?
I really like, because this is the first time ever we've introduced like status buffs.
Yeah.
In terms of like items that are, we don't know exactly how they work 100%, but it seems like it's going to be like I said, 3+ strength, whatever. And I love how they introduced it through Remy, because that's such a Kingdom Hearts thing to do, something so important, and they put it in the hands of a Disney character.
Right.
I'm just like, what? I personally would have loved Ratatouille to be its own world, because I just love kitchen. Like if you were small and you love traveling around a giant kitchen or whatever, I think that'd be really fun for a level. But this is totally fine too. And people speculated this way back when, during the classic Kingdom trailer. You could see in the background it seemed like a French restaurant, and this would be where Remy's going to be controlling Sora and such. I'm very excited, and I can't wait. I want to see how they're going to do if there's going to be more Pixar properties that are not exactly designated worlds, but play a part in the world. Just little things like this, like Remy is. I wonder, I don't think he's gonna talk either, so that's pretty interesting. He might just
squeaks.
He might just squeak or nod, or just something Sora can understand.
It's a little funny how you bring it up before I get to the Remy part. What if Wally is in charge of all the trash distribution in Twilight Town?
Oh, dude, he's like going around the Tram Common picking up little bits of trash. Oh, yeah.
Like, give Wally your trash. Like, but I'm really excited to see Remy. I love Ratatouille, and I'm so excited to see him be a part of Kingdom Hearts 3. And one thing that was really flowing through my mind when I said the MP haste thing is that, yo, imagine, you know, back in Kingdom Hearts 2, where you had to go against certain boss fights and stuff like that, especially with the data battles and stuff, and then you're really like tugging and tugging. I'm like, man, I really want to make that, was it Death Bloom, the item that Melucia gives you, the thing you made? It's like, I really need to build a bunch of those in order to get the MP haste and hasteress, right? And stuff, and like, now, if you don't want to really go through that kind of like setup, you can, if you're having trouble with a boss and you really need that extra MP haste, like you go to Remy, you do it, and then that's it, and then you come back and then you do it, gives you the temporary buff. But I mean, you can't rely on that forever, because I want to assume that either the ingredients are hard to find or they're finite, right? So that is a great new mechanic to introduce into Kingdom Hearts, especially for those who've been really frustrated with synthesis items, especially things that are really hard to find and stuff with like Heartless that have drop rates of like 0.1, and I'm like, oh, that big Aguricus in Kingdom Hearts, what? No, but I'm so glad they're introducing something like this through Remy. So I think it's a great way to not only lift the frustration of certain players, but of course for those who are trying out Kingdom Hearts for the first time, it's a good way to get those abilities, you know, without going through the craziness of synthesis.
Definitely.
But I still want synthesis to come back.
seeing Remy in the trailer, at first we didn't really know what it was, and I was like, you know, maybe Sora was just cooking, he wasn't fighting, but I did think maybe it was like a link or something, and then Nomura clarified, and he said, oh, this is a mini game where you get to cook, and the whole collecting items and then cooking with Remy, like you said, it's very similar to Final Fantasy 15, and I found that really cool because we've never done anything like that in Kingdom Hearts before, but I like the Kingdom Hearts one better because it's just so... It's so cute. Like,
it's kawaii. Yeah,
you won't hear Remy being like, I come up with a new recipe or something.
No. He's like, Sora, let me pull your hair.
And
like,
Sora's legs are perfect for little handles because they're spikes. Yeah, dude. I love it. It's great.
Like, I think it'll come in handy for players who are looking for a quick stat boost, and you know, that's a brand new mechanic that's never been introduced in this game before. And you know, I'm really interested to see, like, you know, what is the gameplay of the minigame? What are we going to be pressing to, like, you know, mix things up and stir things up and stuff? Because maybe the stat boost will be like stronger if your button presses are on point or something. It'll last longer. Right. And I really want to see like how interactive they get with it.
One thing that I have noticed, and you guys will see in the trailer, is there is a little hourglass sitting on the counter, and it's got like little sparkles and stuff. So it would seem like you're under a certain time limit while making the food, and perhaps maybe if you don't finish the food in time, it becomes burnt or something like that. We know that you can screw up the food, so there'll be a certain amount of pressure.
I'm getting PTSD from Paper Mario 1 where we had to make the cake for the best.
If you were off by 1 second, the cake was ruined. And you're like, oh my god.
Oh boy.
Alright, moving along. So we got a bit of information about Big Hero 6. I think it's safe to say that a lot of us were expecting Big Hero 6 to show up at E3, right?
I'm not mad though.
No, I'm not mad because Pirates Frozen is looking great, especially Pirates. But yeah, so Big Hero 6, we got a bit of info as to why it was not shown. As of right now, all of the gameplay gimmicks and for the most part the world in itself has pretty much been finalized. The only thing that Square are needing to do as of right now is finish off the cutscenes. And we also have to keep in mind that Big Hero 6 was the last world to be decided for Kingdom Hearts 3. So I would say, like, would you guys say that it's probably going to be the next world we see if it's only cutscenes, or is it potentially going to be the very final world we see? You would think that want to end it off with the final world reveal with a bang. So I would say Big Hero 6 is likely to be the next or the second to last.
Well, we do know that they said that Kingdom Hearts 3's worlds are split up into 3 parts. And from what we saw from Pirates, that seems like an endgame world because the boss had tons of health.
Right.
So I think that's the only, that and maybe Tangled, or Tangled might be like middle worlds, but I think it might be, Big Hero 6 would be that last batch of worlds along with Pirates and whatever that next world would be. So I think they're gonna cap off whatever's in the beginning, in the middle, the end, in that order. So I really do think Big Hero 6 might be last, unless they really have something outlandishly insane for whatever it could be for the next Disney World. But yeah, I think it'd be really cool.
I want to assume, like, part of me wants to assume, especially with the theory that's going around, that, of course, we saw the concept art of we're going to have to fight against the original Baymax, who's been corrupted by darkness. And the theory that's running around is that once you do, of course, Hero has his own Baymax, and then you beat the original Baymax and possibly purify him, and then he becomes a Link afterwards. And since Baymax is the ultimate healthcare companion, he could be a cure-based Link. So I wanna assume that possibly just because of, like, you know, when it comes to designing the worlds, I don't think at the time of choosing the worlds dictates where the world is gonna be. But Big Hero 6 does definitely feel like an endgame world, but I feel that it's gonna be the world before Pirates. And Pirates is gonna be the second world within the circle of endgame worlds, and the last Disney World before the true endgame world, Keyblade River, whatever, will be something that will be like a good, you know, something that will not be revealed until like a month before the game comes out.
Right, because that health bar is monstrous on that flying thing. That's almost like pushing up to Lingering Will sort of, you know, like that's nuts for a story boss. But what do you think, Dan?
Yeah, that story boss health was crazy. But yeah, I definitely think Pirates is an endgame world like you guys were saying. And I think Nomura actually has said that Big Hero 6 is an endgame world as well. And them not being finished with the cutscenes yet makes sense if it's towards the end of the game. I imagine they sort of work on it in order of the worlds you'll be visiting, you know, to a certain degree. But they probably do work on them all at the same time. It's totally fine that they didn't show Big Hero 6. I think all the news we got is totally fine. There's no reason to complain about the amount of news we got at all. We had a massive blowout for this year's E3, and Big Hero 6 showing up a little later down the line. I feel like, if I had to put a guess, I would say maybe Jump Festa for Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
I feel a Jump Festa reveal for that world. And then there's probably one more endgame world that we don't know about. So it'll be like Pirates Big Hero 6 and something really, I feel like they want something shocking at the end as well. So Big Hero 6, we can wait off on that for a little while they, you know, clean it up and tweak it up. Besides, I feel like making like the city of like San Francisco would be like a massive undertaking for the environment. Just nailing the frame rate and stuff.
Yeah.
So they probably really want to optimize that before they show it off to the public.
Definitely. All right, moving along to the next topic, let's talk about Final Fantasy characters not being as of a necessity for Kingdom Hearts 3. And I think a lot of people are worried about this, but don't take this news as being like, okay, you know, Final Fantasy characters aren't going to show up in Kingdom Hearts 3. We can expect Final Fantasy characters to show up. I just think that in terms of perhaps maybe new ones, maybe there's not going to be a whole new cast. But I think in terms of, you know, characters like Sephiroth and Cloud, they have their own little, you know, self-contained story within Kingdom Hearts when looking towards, especially Kingdom Hearts 2. There was a bit of story right there as well. But I think what he means by this whole necessity thing is that, you know, Kingdom Hearts, when it was first coming out, when it was first, you know, thought up of, it was like Final Fantasy was kind of needed on top of also Disney to bring people in, to give people a reason to kind of pick up and play. Obviously, you know, you see Cloud or something, people are gonna be like, whoa, Cloud's in like this game, like I gotta see what this is about. But these days, Kingdom Hearts has become so big, it's become an entity in itself that it doesn't need to rely on Final Fantasy characters anymore, right? So don't take this news as like we're not going to be seeing any Final Fantasy characters. I would really love to see Noctis be put in the game where, like, you know, the boys are like in Radiant Garden or something, and they're looking for like royal arms, and they come across like Sora's Keyblade, and they're like, whoa, what's that? And have like a little bit of a conversation. And I would also love an Engine Blade Keyblade. Oh man, that'd be so cool. But yeah, I don't think that this is like no Final Fantasy characters or anything like that. I just think that Nomura is saying like they're not as prominent as they once were because Kingdom Hearts is a thing in itself. What do you think, Sky?
I remember back when Kingdom Hearts 2 was announced back in 2013, everybody was like, lightning! We're gonna get lightning!
Yeah.
Ain't nobody care about lightning no more. It's about Noctis, you know, Gladio, Prompto, Ignis. Like, they got, please, just them four. If they're gonna add anybody new, add them four. I don't care about the Final Fantasy 15 antagonists. Like, it's just the boys traveling. I think it's perfect. And what you brought up about them looking for probably royal arms and such, great. And it'd be really nice to see, like, Squall and Cloud and Aerith. Aerith has to die.
Yes.
Yes. To continue with that self-contained story that they're doing with Cloud and Sephiroth, I think she gotta go. But yeah, that's really all I gotta say about that one.
Yeah. So when it comes to Final Fantasy characters, I'm not too worried about that because I mean, part of Kingdom Hearts' identity is contained within the Final Fantasy properties that mix in with Disney and stuff. So I mean, when Nomura says it's not really that much of a necessity for Final Fantasy characters, I'm pretty sure whoever's been in the game up until this point, except for Zack because he's probably dead, is coming back into Kingdom Hearts. Probably not Arn. Arn's done, but definitely Cloud, Leon, Yuffie, the rest of them. They are the Radiant Garden Restoration Committee. They have to be back,
yeah, they've got to
you know. But then I know everyone's talking about Noctis. I want Noctis to be back, but I want Noctis to be back in a different way because you know how they always put Final Fantasy characters in their own type of, you know, theme or origin story within Kingdom Hearts. You know, the throne is empty in Radiant Garden. Ansem the Wise is gone, so it needs another Sage King, and I feel that a top candidate right now for them to restore Radiant Garden would bring Noctis into the mix.
Idea. I really
and then
love that idea.
and then Somnus starts playing as he's like walking up to the throne. I'm like, and it doesn't even have to be like straight Noctis from Final Fantasy 15. It could be maybe a little younger version of Noctis, like in between from the two Noctis we've seen, like 20-year-old Noctis versus 8-year-old Noctis, like somewhere in between that, you know, the Boy King, something like that. And I would love to see him in the game, but I'm not too worried about like the lack of necessity for Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts 3. They're gonna be there. You know, that's part of the identity.
Alright, so Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts 3. I think what Nomura was just trying to say is that, like you guys have said, over the past few years, Kingdom Hearts has evolved and has its own identity apart from these two other properties. The Kingdom Hearts fan base, they're different from the Final Fantasy fan base. The Kingdom Hearts fan base, they're different from the Disney fan base. They have their own set of people, a very passionate set of people too, but they have their own set of people, and I feel like this has been a long time coming. Actually, this is the first time Nomura is saying it, but I'd say like ever since maybe Kingdom Hearts 2 onwards, in an earlier discussion I was saying they've added a lot of characters that have their own unique personalities that really stand out, and these are just Kingdom Hearts characters. They're not like Disney property characters or Final Fantasy characters. Nomura has really created his own colorful cast of Kingdom Hearts characters that really carried the story on their own. And I think that's really what he's trying to say. Not that Final Fantasy is axed or anything, but it's just not as important. I think, the Final Fantasy characters that played a big role in the past, the people on the Restoration Committee and the people that live on Destiny Islands, they'll continue to play their little roles. But looking for new characters to really fill in is not needed. I do think it will be a little weird to go to Olympus this time and not include a new Final Fantasy character.
Right.
Because they always do something with Olympus
they
and a Final
do.
Fantasy character.
Yeah.
That would probably be the perfect time to just shoot in lightning or something. But overall, Kingdom Hearts has come to the point where its own characters will carry the plot, and people buy Kingdom Hearts for the Kingdom Hearts characters now, not for the Final Fantasy or the Disney characters.
You know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see Aquanaut go to Olympus and Zack be there. Still want to take that girl on that date?
Just choke slam.
What are you talking about now?
Yeah, right?
That's how he dies.
Yeah. All right, and the very last topic, let's talk about the new 7 Pure Hearts of Light. This was obviously a very big thing contained in the first Kingdom Hearts, and so Loxine, I believe, says in the Frozen trailer, or was it Frozen Pirates?
It was a Pirates trailer where she said specifically.
Yeah. She's saying that there is a new 7 Pure Hearts of Light, which is pretty dang interesting. So of course we know that we're getting some new Disney worlds within Kingdom Hearts 3, and so far the only new princess worlds we have would be Tangled as well as Frozen. So we have Elsa and we have Rapunzel. So it kind of makes you think, is there going to be returning princesses? Even if those worlds don't actually come back, will they show up somewhere? We've also been theorizing, what other characters could also potentially be pure lights. One thing that I thought of this morning is Minnie, and I would love for this to happen. I would love a situation of her obviously being captured by Xehanort or something like that, and then he's just furious. That's his girl right there. Can you imagine? That's his girl. Also, I feel like the Princess and the Frog has a slight chance to be a potential world in the game, and Tiana would be a very good candidate, for a Princess of Light. And also, even looking at that world, it's New Orleans, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I think its themes, there's nothing else kind of out there at the moment that is similar to it, so it has a good chance. Tiana could be a possibility. But otherwise, it's interesting to see this coming back, and for what reason as well. We always knew that it was the 7 lights versus the 13 darknesses, but then why do you also need these 7 pure hearts again, right? So we're gonna find out about it, but what do you guys think about this?
To add on to the point, Nomura is really respectful of the Disney franchises and such, and ever since Frozen has come out, they've kind of put Elsa and Anna together, so I feel like there might be a 2-for-1 there, because Anna is just as, if not equally as important as Elsa in the plot of Frozen.
Yeah.
They're sisters, exactly. So, and they've looked out for each other in the plot of said film. So I do believe maybe you get a 2-for there, where Elsa and Anna would both have pure hearts of light. So, but that's weird. I don't know. They just built it around how the original ones that we've known, like Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, etc. They're just the only ones in the whole universe like this. And then Ventus kind of artificially.
Yeah.
But I was just all right. They just kind of add. We need more the princesses to play a role. We're gonna just make 14 pure lights now.
Yeah.
And what are they gonna do with the old ones? Are they gonna hide them?
Do they not matter?
Yeah, just I don't know. That's kind of weird.
So we were talking about this the other night where I feel that, you know, of course Xehanort really wants to make the Keyblade, he wants to make the Keyblade War, all that stuff, he wants that to happen. In order to make that happen, he needs 7 lights and 13 darkness. He's got 13 darkness. And the way that they're kind of like, you know, stuck in the mess that the Keyblade War is going to happen regardless is that either the 7 Princesses of Hearts are going to be targeted by Xehanort, or they're going to fight the 7 Guardians of Light. So either way, he has what he needs. And I feel that Yen said is like, okay, just in case we're going to go to war, we're going to make these Guardians, but at the same time, we should hide the Princesses of Heart. And then Xehanort finds out, and he's like, all right, bet. And then he just looks for other pure lights, which I really want them to elaborate on, because it was such a, like Scott was saying, it was such a huge pivotal plot point that there are only 7 Princesses of Heart.
To bring up the point Maleficent said, is like any less is meaningless.
Yeah.
So like, but there's just 9 more out there, even though the Disney World franchise didn't exist yet.
So I really want them to explain that. I like the little pocket theory that I just literally constructed without any type of research. And it's like, what if at one point in the story of Kingdom Hearts 3, where they're trying to hide the Princess of Heart, whatever, and the Xehanort's like, bet, and then he does something where like the purity of their hearts get tainted, so the purity of the lights, of the 7 lights, had to go to other princesses. Ooh. And then like, okay, these are the ones that are not in hiding, let's go. So when it comes to who could be, it's like Minnie is a really good choice. Elsa, Anna, I feel like they're both would be, but then Xehanort or Larxene was like, oh, he's like, Sora's like, I'm not gonna let Elsa fall to darkness, and he protects Elsa, and he's like, okay, you protect Elsa, I got Anna right here, and then like, you know, vulture her. You know, it's like either way, one's gonna go and stuff, and possibly, you know, we got pirates. Elizabeth,
could
yeah,
be
she's
on the bed.
So does that'd be 5 right now, 4.
Yeah, that okay. If we're counting Elsa, Minnie, Elsa, Anna, Elizabeth, Kyrie is still on to play.
Rapunzel.
Yeah, Rapunzel.
And then probably one unannounced world we haven't seen.
Yeah, exactly. So like right there, 6. All right, so I feel that has to be, but I really want them explain how are they. I want them to explain how are they gonna explain. Like, you know, we thought Snow White, Cinderella, all these people were like the original 7, and then I'm like, oh yeah, nah, not anymore. I want them to. I'm not too mad about them doing it. I just want them to explain.
Oh my God, they're gonna bring back Atlantica and make Ariel.
Don't do it! No, it's fine. It's fine. She was never a princess of heart.
Now she is with that crackpot theory you just came up with at the dog.
Oh no, I did. What do you think, Dean?
Well, the whole thing about the 7 pure lights, honestly, I think the only reason there are 7 new pure lights are because Nomura's looking at these games and he's like, he's like, I kind of trapped myself. I kind of trapped myself, and I don't want to include these worlds again. I don't want to go back to Wonderland again. So we need to make a way for these new worlds to have 7 pure lights, and that's kind of what he did. He just kind of wrote himself out of it and made himself 7 new princesses. I don't think the old ones are like not pure anymore, but I feel like this is just like the new targets now, because he wants to showcase new Disney properties, new worlds. I think he's made it a point, like, we want a bunch of new stuff in Kingdom Hearts 3.
He's messing with the formula again. He's not following the recipe.
He's changing his recipe. He's
not Nomura, Xehanort. Remember, it's all like, oh, in my eagerness, I lost sight of the correct way to make my goal. He's getting eager again. He's like,
he's desperate. He's desperate.
Where else can we find some princesses? But also, the thing about, I know Sky said both Elsa and Anna can be a princess. You said Elsa. I was actually just thinking just now. And Larxene in the trailer, she's talking about Elsa, and she's like, so which will Elsa pick, light or darkness? And I'm thinking, if Elsa has the ability to choose darkness, maybe she's not a pure light at all. Because they're pure lights. They're supposed to be light, like that's a given. And if Larxene's able to manipulate her into, you know, feeding into the darkness just like that, it might mean she was never a pure light to begin with, or she is testing her to see if she really is a pure light. Like, she doesn't know herself, but she wants to test Elsa. So she tries to tempt her with the darkness to find out.
Oh, like they did with Wendy in Neverland. They were like, when they found out that she wasn't a pure light, they were like, throw her off, overboard.
We don't need her. Get out of here.
So it's either a test, or maybe just Anna is the light of that world.
Alright guys, well that has been 4 topics from the interviews with Nomura as well as the media recently. I want to thank obviously you guys for joining in on today's news episode. We don't get to do this very often, like really at all, so it's been super fun to do. Be sure to check out the description down below. I'm going to leave Sky, HNK's as well as Sora Alam's channels in the description down below. We also have a video similar to this on all of our other channels or their channels as well, so do not miss out on that. But now guys, I've been Cynical. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and until next time dudes, I'll catch you later. Peace.
Hit them on the page, you'll be coming through stunning. Gold in my mouth when you suckers be bluffing. Milk crate, gaming up your bitch though. Catch me in the back playing Super Nintendo.